All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Beehive virtual event. We're very excited to be here today with a whole team of special guests. This is one of our first Beehive collab virtual events where we're working with partners of Beehive to bring valuable content to everyone. As we start talking here, we'll give it a few minutes for people to start filling in. But yeah, I am here with Brian Harris and his team. Brian is the founder of growthtools.com and has a lot of content to share with you today about getting thousands of subscribers without ads in social media. So super valuable. We've had some virtual events talking about how you can use ads. This is just going to be another tool in the quiver of how you can, if you're trying to do this without spending a bunch of money, giving a lot of your money to Zuck and everybody else, you can use these tips to grow. I don't want to necessarily give away anything by saying like organically or characterizing it in any certain way, but we'll leave it without ads. And with that, I will pass over to Brian to get things kicked off.
Thanks for having us, EJ. Looking forward to hanging out with everybody today. I've recorded on Riverside before, but I've not presented. I want to see people in chat. I'd be curious as we come in, do two things if you would, as anybody comes in. First, share where you're coming live from, where you're at in the world. And second, a link to your newsletter or website so we can get a feel for who's here and interact with y'all as we go throughout. This isn't a listen shop, it's a workshop. So I'd love to interact with y'all, share some things, get Q&A as we go throughout the day to day. Mike and Raphael, thanks for jumping in. Will, Harry, I appreciate y'all being here today. Looking forward to getting to know y'all. Maybe you can share one more thing as well, where you're from, website, and your list size currently. And we can get a feel for where that's at as well. Do that as we get in. I'll give a quick intro. I brought two team members along with us as well. Below me, somewhere on the screen here, below me on how I set it up is Bethany. She's the chief of staff at Growth Tools. We love doing webinars, but I hate to be by myself. And it's really weird. If we're at a conference and 100 people in the room, you get to see people's faces. And I hate just talking to a computer screen. And with most webinar software, you can't do it. So I bring two team members along. So at least I can look at them in the process. So I got Bethany with us today and also Will. Will's our director of sales. He's taken over 13,000 sales calls for us over the last 8 years of being here. And he runs our marketing and sales department. So he's with us as well. And Will and Bethany both daily do what I'm teaching you today. Cody as well. He actually runs this channel. He's got his mic and phone and video off and everything. But he actually owns this channel that I'm going to teach you today. And Will and Bethany work within it as well. And I'll share our numbers and behind the scenes of how it works and everything so you can decide if this is something that'd be good for you as well. So thanks everybody for jumping in. Christopher, Rich, Jake, Moshin, RT, Dan, Harry, Kevin, share where you're from, link to your website and your current list size. If you want Rich from Naples, what's up, Rich? Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 5,000 on the list for Rich. I think our active list size is like 100 something thousand or something right now. We've done lots of good things and dumb things with our list over the years. So anyway, that's its current state. So let's jump in. So the title of today's webinar is How to Get Thousands of Subscribers Per Month Without Ads or Social Media. And I'll start with the punchline. I'm going to teach you our number one subscriber and client acquisition channel today. And I'll start with the endpoint and then work you back through the specifics of it. So we average per month via this channel I'm going to walk you through today, 2,500 new email subscribers per month and a little over $100,000 in sales. We don't spend ads on it. We have one person who owns the channel and it's something that just matches perfectly with our business. And we've done it for over a decade. So that's the stats. And we actually, just to show you, I actually took a screenshot. This is our tracking sheet. So last month, in the month of October, we had 2,300 email subscribers and 19 sales, and our average price point is about $6,000. So you can do the math. 6 times 19 is 100 and something $1,000. So that's our actual. I bring the receipts, so we aren't just making numbers up because a lot of people online make numbers up. So we don't make numbers up. Those are our specific numbers from the last 30 days. So let's zoom out for a minute. I want to share origin story of how I discovered this channel and then how it works and show you screenshots and examples and such. So when I first started online in 2013, I did not know how to do anything. So I just started following people there were 4 different people I followed: Ramit Sethi, Seth Godin, Gary Vee, and Noah Kagan. And I studied what they taught because a lot of those people teach marketing and what they did. And I would take something like Gary Vee or Noah would teach and I would go try it and experiment with it. And I happened to be in this Facebook group where there's just 100 people or so in there from a course I'd bought or something. And as I would experiment with things, I would post them in that group. And most of the time, stuff didn't work. It wasn't all that effective. But every now and then something would work. And after about a year of doing that, I had cobbled together a list of about 100 people. So I go and post in the group, hey guys, just passed 100 email subscribers. I have no idea what I'm doing, but here's the top 3 things that have worked. And that post wound up being the way I accidentally discovered the marketing channel I'm going to teach you today. And our number one channel over the years. And we've done ads and social and content and everything in between, but everything keeps coming back to this for us. It just is so simple and almost no one does it. But anyway, that day I posted in the Facebook group, I get an email back or a message back from the guy that runs it, Noah, and he's like, hey man, I saw in the group that you just passed 100 email subscribers. And now pause here. Noah at the time had a blog with an email list of 50,000 people, which is just gigantic for me at the time. And he had been around for a decade and people knew him and liked him and trusted him. And he's like, hey, I noticed you just got 100 subscribers. I would love if you'd put together a resource showing how you did it so I could share it with my list, because Noah needs good content for his list. I happened to have gotten this little minor result. He wanted me to write it down and he would share it out with them. So I did. I was like, yeah, I would love to do that. I get a list of 100, you get a list of 50,000. I think that would be a good deal. Let's do that. So I did it. I wrote it up, and this is actually the resource here. List building, how to get your first 100 email subscribers. I wrote it up. Noah emailed it out to his list. And as a result of that one, I had a resource. He shared it with his list. I got over 1,000 new email subscribers. And in the following months, just over $100,000 in sales. And what I had done there was accidentally discover what would come to be the number one marketing channel that we use, the number one marketing channel we train and teach to our clients. And it's called BOPA, which is short for borrowing other people's audiences. So BOPA is when you provide a valuable resource to someone else and they promote it to their audience in exchange for that. So to give you a very specific example of it, we had a client named Ryan who coaches people with ADHD how to be productive. And Ryan has a guide called Finding Peace with an ADHD Mind. And we have another client named Chad, and he works with authors or aspiring authors to write their book and get book deals from traditional publishing houses. And Ryan was like, you know what? I bet authors struggle with productivity, and as a result, they don't get their book done or their proposal done, and they never get the book deal. So Ryan reaches out to Chad. He's like, hey, Chad, I got this guide. It's basically the productivity guide. And I don't know if your people have ADHD, but they probably have a problem with productivity. What if you shared, instead of writing your typical newsletter this week, just take my already done really good resource and share it with your list, and that'll help them be more productive and people will hire you, etc. So Chad said yes. Chad sent out Ryan's resource, and as a result of that, Ryan got 416 new email subscribers and 10 new clients. So I'm going to double click and go uber specific here so you can see exactly how this works. So this is the email that Chad sent to his audience. My friend Ryan, so imagine Chad, I think his list was like 1,000 or 1,500 people, not a big list, but he said, my friend Ryan has a cool resource that helps you stay focused so you can write your book. Click here to get the guide and other productivity emails from Ryan, and you'll get a special bonus when you do. So people from Chad's list get this email, they click the link, and when they click the link, they went to this kind of page. Now, Ryan sells like a high ticket offer. So his sales mechanism is a phone call. Your sales mechanism might be a sales page, or maybe you just generate subscribers and sell sponsorships or something. I don't know your model. Although I would put a little bug in your ear. If you don't do high ticket coaching, if you don't sell a high ticket education product and you have a big newsletter, that is the single simplest way to monetize your list. You can generate substantially more income with that versus sponsorships or some of the traditional ways people tend to monetize lists. At any rate, Ryan's business was based on booking sales calls and talking to him. So when people click this link, they went to this page. There's a little link at the top that says, hey, I just emailed your resource, but while you're here, what if you could guarantee that you finish your book in the next 90 days? If you want that, schedule the call with me. We'll build a custom productivity plan, and I'll tell you what it'd be like to get coached by me. 10 people schedule calls, have a call with Ryan. He closes them, and it generates substantial revenue and 10 clients as a result of it. So that's what BOPA looked like in Ryan and Chad's case. Zoom back out for a second. The thing I like about BOPA, and just why it's worked over the years for me, despite being an okay marketer, but not great, is any sell, especially ones where you charge more than a very small amount of money, a sponsorship sell, a $500 course, or a $10,000 agency, or whatever the thing is you do, which, by the way, put in chat real quick. What's the price point of the thing you sell? That could be your sponsorship, or your course, or your coaching, or your book, or whatever the thing is you sell. How much is it? So be curious in chat. Stick the number in there. The magic of BOPA in general and any sell is deep personal connection. What I mean by that is Noah had a big list of 50,000 people. And those people had followed him for a long time. They knew him, they liked him, they trusted him. When he takes my resource and sends it out to his list, I get to just step within that trust. And instead of having to attract those eyeballs from scratch, instead of having to build a deep personal relationship with all those people, I just get to borrow it all from Noah. And that makes sales easy. It makes generating subscribers easy. When someone else that someone else trusts vouches for you, the subscriber becomes simple. The sell becomes simple because you don't have to build all that stuff from scratch. So doing this over the last decade has what is the number one thing that's grown my business. It's allowed me, and I do coaching, by the way. I work with people who teach things online and help them generate clients and get people to hire them. And I've been able to work with big names online, not because I'm the best marketer in the world. I'm not. But because I keep things simple, it works really well. And people like Michael Hyatt and Amy Porterfield and Josh Axe have hired me to coach them and their organizations to get more clients because I borrowed trust of people they knew, not because I got to know them or networked or any of that stuff at all. And we work with all kind of folks you don't know, folks you do know, and everybody in between. But the punchline here, BOPA, the reason it works is not because the funnel's great. It's not because you got to have amazing copy. It's not because you got your perfect little opt-in page with the upsell based on somebody else. It's none of that crap at all. Now, this is fine. But when you have deep personal connection, you got vouched for by somebody else, like nothing else is simpler than that. So zoom out for 1 second. After 11 years online, I wish somebody would have set me down on day one and taught me what I'm about to say to you. And I hope my goal today really is to present to you two fundamentally different ways to go out marketing whatever it is that you sell, and for you to intentionally pick one, because I never did that. And as a result, I wandered around for 5-6 years trying everything, testing everything, and that was mostly just a waste of time. So there's two primary marketing models, way to take your product to the market and get humans to buy it. Model number one is what practically everybody teaches. I had a course I sold for years that taught this. It was called Get 10,000 Subscribers, How to Grow Your List. And we sold lots of copies with it, so made a lot of money on it. But the problem with it is, the problem with it is this. You must, if you're going to focus on building an audience and selling to that audience, you must have world-class content. And you must never get off the content hamster wheel of death. You're publishing more and you're doing the Gary Vee thing, 100 pieces a day on Instagram and TikTok and whatever the new crap is that's out there tomorrow. And if you ever get off, you're done. It's not going to work anymore. You're not nurturing the list and it's not going to run. You better have a great funnel and it better convert well and you're going to be tracking every step of the thing. And your sales scripts, your sales page better be awesome. Building an audience and selling to it forces you, optimizes you to become a world-class marketer. And at the end of the day, like, I don't really care about being a world-class marketer. What I want are clients or customers that I can help. That's what I actually want. And to be great at that. So if you to survey 100 online marketers or teachers, the one thing they would all agree on is this. And now I fundamentally disagree with it. There's a totally different model out there that you can use that grows your audience at the same time, but forces you to do fundamentally different activity that makes your chance of success much higher. So instead of marketing model one is to build an audience and sell to it. Marketing model number two is to borrow other people's audiences. Instead of playing the game of try to beat Mr. Beast, try to have better content, try to have a better squeeze page, try to buy better traffic, and doing that game, which everyone is playing, just play a different game. This invitation, consider playing a totally different game. Take your single best tool that you have, the thing you teach, the thing you help people with, the spreadsheet, the template, the framework, the whatever it is, the thing, and just give it to other people to share. They need the content already. Like I had that little guide on how to get a list to 100 and Noah needed it for his list. So instead of playing the game of how can I produce new content every single day with the best funnel, the best sales scripts or sales pages, what if the game I could play would be, how do I give my best stuff away to more people? This optimizes you for a thing that we all come out of the womb being great at, which is connecting with other humans. And that's the thing you need to generate sales anyway, is like a deep personal connection with someone. They need to trust you. Whether you're selling event tickets, or Dan, you have a $45,000 product, Tony has $499 a month. What was the other one? Amanda, B2B brands with their influencer marketing starts, so agency, maybe coaching kind of deal at $1,250 a month. Like, no matter what you have, you must have deep personal connection with them. So what I would love to invite you into today is to consider maybe a different way to think about your marketing completely, a totally different marketing model. Instead of building an audience, borrow it instead. I'm going to share a few of the details on this, then I'm going to zoom out. We're going to do a little calibration, and then I'm going to walk through the details of how to borrow the people's audiences and if that would be a good fit for you or not. This topic might get slightly uncomfortable for y'all, and hopefully this is okay. The most viral idea of all time of human history, the best-selling book of all time, is the Bible. So believe it or not, I don't really care. It's not the point of this conversation, but like at the very least, the fundamentals that they used to spread that worked well. The idea caught on. The book sold. It was actually the first book. So let's look at what they did, because this is really interesting. And I've never heard this in church or anything like that. But like, notice what happened. What did Jesus use to spread his ideas? So Luke 9 and Luke 10, if you're a Bible nerd or something, want to dig into this, go read them for yourself. I'll give you a summary. Here's the marketing method he used. What he didn't say, so he spent like 3 years with 12 dudes, and they were the epicenter. They were basically his marketers that took the message and sold the book and everything. So those 12 dudes, he told them, go to the towns around here. And when you go there, find a person you get along really well. The Bible calls it a person of peace. Go find that person and just stay in their house. They'll invite you, stay there every night, eat their meal, they'll feed you and everything. And then this is what's going to happen. They're going to bring their friends to you. They're going to go to their network and bring them to you. And when they come, I want you to minister to them, help them out, heal them, and just take care of their stuff, and then teach them. That was the marketing method. It wasn't go print out flyers and take an ad in the local newsletter and sponsor the apple cart on the corner. It wasn't any of that. And go rent an arena with 5,000 seats and fill it up. No, don't do that, actually. Instead, go to that town, find a person of peace. They'll bring people to you, and then you help them and teach them. That was Jesus's marketing model. That's what he used. That's what spread the most viral idea of all time, because they didn't have to build the trust. They didn't have to convince somebody via great copy. They didn't have to find the perfect target audience or have the perfect squeeze page. They didn't need any of that. They relied on that person they got along with, that person of peace, to bring people to them. Here's the second part, second kind of fundamental principle. This is one of those 12 guys, like the 12 guys Jesus spent a long time with. He said, this is Paul, my message and my preaching were not with wise and persuasive words. Like, my funnel sucks. My copy's just okay. I'm not really all that great at this. But what I rely on is a demonstration of, I just show it to people. They bring people to me, and I just show them what's up. I just show them how it works, and they buy from me. Because the trust is there, the eyeballs are there, and I just need a simple offer to put in front of them that connects, and it works. Like, I don't have to be, you don't, maybe this is a punchline for all of y'all, because you are a bunch of marketing nerds. You do not have to be great at marketing. Your copy does not have to be world-class. Go for it. Don't intentionally have bad stuff, but it doesn't have to be great. It does if you're building your audience. But if you're borrowing an audience instead, two things will happen. One, you'll get more subscribers and you'll sell stuff quicker. And two, your audience will grow as a side effect of it. We have not a single goal related to list growth, but our list has a net growth rate of 3,000 to 5,000 a month as a result of it. Now, we've had periods of times we're focused on growing the list and whatever. Now we just focus on how do we take our best training and our best tools and give them away. And as a result, people download them, they join the list, and they hire us as a result of it. So my objective today is to invite you into a totally different way to think about selling the thing you sell. How do you take it to market and get people to trust you and buy it? And there's two fundamentally different ways to go about it. You can focus on growing an audience and selling to it, or you can focus on borrowing other people's audiences. As a result of this one, your audience will grow. As a result of this one, you must be great at everything or you will lose or stagnate, one of the two. Those are the only options. I'm curious, before we just go super deep into BOPA and how it works and how you could find people and whatnot, I'm curious at the start here, which way are you leaning? Are you leaning into BOPA? Put BOPA in chat. Or are you more interested in building? And there's no wrong answer, by the way. I'm just curious where you're at. I'm going to ask you at the end to see if anybody's changed their mind or where you're going. Because my goal is clarity. I want you to see the two paths and consciously, intentionally pick the one that feels like the best one for you. So where are you at right now? I want at least 3 people sharing BOPA or build or borrow in chat right now. Tony's got BOPA. Tori said a mix of both. That's the one thing I wouldn't advise Tori. I've done both of these things. I've gone deep down the path of both of those and coached people deep down the path of both of them. The one thing you don't want to do is straddle the fence. You do want to optimize for one, not both. Now, one of them will allow you to do both. The other one won't. We got a BOPA, Chelsea, BOPA, Gervin, Dan BOPA, since option 1 has not gone well. Yeah. I mean, it can. This isn't like an ethically wrong thing or anything. It's just, man, the more the years that go by with the creator economy growing, the harder it is to build. Just like the bar for content goes up, the bar for a great landing page goes up, the bar for a great newsletter goes up, and that game gets harder and harder to win. When I started, it was easier just because there wasn't as many people doing it. Now it is legitimately way more competitive. Yeah, Cody said we don't even have a single page designated just for people to subscribe. We never have, actually. We probably have gotten over 2 million subscribers over the years, and we've literally never had a newsletter sign up page, which is probably a bug, not a feature. Don't copy that. Redo, BOPA, Anna BOPA. Cool. All right, I want to pause here for a minute. Will, anything you want to add here, or maybe something you've seen in chat you want to add before we jump in?
I think one thing I would say is you can do both, but not intentionally. Don't optimize for both, but you will build your audience, like you said earlier, as you borrow. One thing, though, that's a side effect that's different than building, that's distinct to borrowing, Brian, that I haven't heard you mention yet, and maybe you'll get into it. It's your authority grows when other people of authority promote you. And you just don't get that when you exclusively build. So I think that's of note.
Yeah, that's good. Tori asks, company name, we're growthtools.com. Like, I literally got a text right before here of a very well-known author that someone's introducing us to coach them, that I actually read his book years ago and really love it. And as a result of a BOPA partnership, like, we just have trust with that person due to it being transferred from somebody else, and they'll be a multi-six-figure client likely as a result of that. So I don't know the guy. I've followed him and like his stuff. He teaches like investing stuff or something. That'd be really cool. It makes so many things easier. All right, so let's do this. We're going to zoom out for a minute, do a little bit of calibration. So we have a tradition on our team. There's any meeting we have, and this is a meeting here, I'm doing the most of the talking, but I want to make sure we know the point of it. So what I don't want to do is teach you some new shiny object that you're like, maybe I want to go test that too. No, don't test marketing channels, by the way. Research them, commit to them, don't test them. Test the things within them, but you need to commit to that because it's going to take you a minute to get it to work. So question number 1, by the end of this, if doing BOPA is the most efficient way to hit your goal, you should highly consider doing it. With or without me, whatever, doesn't matter, but I want you to have clarity. So first off, I want at least 3 people to share in chat right now, what is your super stretch goal between now and the end of the year? If you could generate this much additional revenue in your business, like, you would be pumped. And the second question is why? What would this make different in your life as a result of it? Here's why I asked that question. Put it in chat while I talk. I want to know, at least 3 people, what's your super stretch goal between now and end of the year, revenue-wise, and why? What would that make possible in your life as a result? Because if by the end of this, you're like, man, I think BOPA can do that, then go do it. If it doesn't, then like, stick it in the back of your mind, put it on the back burner, come back to it later maybe. Okay? So a couple people, what's your revenue goal? Rich, 20K, covers startup expenses for our team. Proves the concept. Yes. Anna asked for some detail stuff. Let's hold that, Anna. That's getting weedsy with it, which we do for sure want to, but I want to save that. Tori, 50K and to hire. Anna, $100,000 in the first year. Harry, simply want the newsletter to bring in a steady income by the year end. So name a number though, Harry. Steady income can mean $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month or $50,000 a month. You need a very specific number. Thank you, Bethany, for putting the URL in. Good. So that's question number 1. Question number 2. This one, again, might get you in uncomfortable territory, but you'll be fine. Trust me. Just hang with me here. Your fear level, anxiety, doubt, imposter syndrome, that whole category of thing, the higher it is, the lower your creativity level is. This is very practical. If you are in a state of fear or anxiety or like doubt or that thing, then your creativity will not be high. Brain science has shown this over and over again. If I get hit with fear, my creativity goes out of the window, and that's when I do dumb stuff. So I want to teach you an exercise. We do this on our team constantly. It's called Clear the Fear. And I want to do it here for this reason. Over the next 30 minutes, as I share the details of BOPA, you're probably going to get hit by fear or doubt or anxiety or something, low level, throughout this. Of like, I don't know if that'll work for me. And boy, that sounds good for Brian, but not me. And yeah, that person has a big list, so it worked, all that stuff. And if your fear thing goes up and that snow globe gets shaken, then your creativity is going to be low, and this isn't going to make any difference in your business at all because 1,000 objections come up. So I want to do this exercise. It takes 60 seconds. It's called Clear the Fear. And I highly recommend, if you take nothing else out of this training, do this a time or two a day. Especially when you get hit and you're like, that pit of the stomach thing, or like your head gets spinny, whatever. Go do this exercise. It takes a minute and it is fantastically effective. So here's the exercise. We're going to ask 2 questions. First, we're going to ask, what is the number one fear that's blocking me from that goal I put in chat a while ago? The second question we're going to ask is, what's true about that thing? And we're going to be quiet for 60 seconds. It'll feel like an eternity for some of you. Just hang with it. You'll be fine. I'm going to do this in a prayer format. You can meditate or be quiet or whatever you want to do. I don't really care. I'm going to do this in that context. And then I want you to put in chat, what was the fear that came up for you and what was the true thing? Okay, and we'll talk about what to do with that in a second. And so try it out. If you never tried this before, you for sure need to try it out. Okay, so here we go. I'll do it. Y'all follow along, and then we'll share, and we'll jump into the detail. We do stuff at BOPA. All right, God, right now we ask that you'd bring to mind for everybody here, Harry, Amanda, Areto, Heather, Anna, Tori, Rich, everybody else, what is the number one fear, the number one blocker that's keeping them from their super stretch goal this year? What's a lie, a doubt, an anxiety, a fear, something they're experiencing they might not even know that is blocking them? And we're just going to be quiet for 30 seconds and write down whatever comes to mind for us. And now we ask you to bring to mind for us, what is true? If that's the lie, then what's actually true? We're going to be quiet for another 30 seconds, write down what comes to mind. Remember, if you have any chance of hitting that goal, your creativity better be off the charts. And if you're full of fear and anxiety and believe in a lie, which we all do, then your chance of success goes down drastically. So I'm curious, what came up for you? What was the fear? What was the truth? I want at least 2 people to put it in chat before we move on. I'll share mine, and that time you can share yours in chat so I can see it. Oh, Areto, yours is good. That I'm wasting my time and nothing matters. Okay, that's the fear. That's the lie. That's good. Being truthful. What's true, though? What's true about that thing? I want to see the truth too, Areto, not just the lie. So for me, what I got, I keep getting this one over and over again, which is interesting because it's not actually top of mind. But the lie was that certain people on the team are not the right fits. The truth is, these are the people you need. So I keep this little thing on my desk. I got it from Amazon. It's really cool. My kids love it. I can go through my day looking through the lens of the people aren't right. Or, and hey, that'll be confirmed because I'll pick up every little thing and be like, not right, not right, not right, need to move on. Or I can choose and act like the true thing is true. The team's perfect, exactly who I need. And I go through the day picking up every level of proof that's right. And like, yeah, oh, they're right, and they're right, and they're right, and they're improving, and they took that feedback, and that's going well. Like, I can pick the one I want to do. I can live through the prism of the lie. I can live through the prism of the truth. Anna, that I'll burn out and quit before I succeed. Truth, I have control over the outcome. Yes. Amanda, I fear that I won't be able to get enough clients that will pay my consulting fee. The truth, probably that seed stage startups aren't the right target clients because I don't have the resources. Harry, the fear and doubt that the plan won't work. Truth, it's uncertain, but down to me. Yes, that's good. All right, we'll do one more. Bethany, you want to share what yours was? And then we'll go to crunchy stuff here.
Yeah, I would love to. So my fear right now revolves around like a personal situation that feels stuck and it's taking up a lot of brain space for me. And so the fear is like, this will never get better. And so the truth is that my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. And so just getting really comfortable in that weakness and vulnerability and humility, because that's really the sweet spot where the magic happens.
That's good. All right. Clear the fear. Do it a time or two a day. Your creativity will go up. Your subscribers will go up because you'll do smarter stuff and less of the dumb stuff, and you'll generate more revenue. So take that away from this. Let's go details of BOPA now. I want to go over the 5 keys. 5 things. You stick them in the engine, you turn it, your list grows, BOPA works. Key number 1 is understanding people are actively trying to find you right now. So Noah was actively trying to find me. In order to share a resource. The same thing is happening for you right now. People are trying to find you. Because you might be thinking like, man, I don't know. Yeah, that sounds good. And Noah promoted you and Ryan promoted Chad or Chad promoted Ryan. I get that. But no one would do me. My list isn't big enough. I'm not well known enough. My stuff isn't good enough, whatever that is. And it's like, that's a lie. That's not true. The truth is people with sizable lists are actively trying to find you right now. Example, I just went and took a few screenshots. There's a lady named Claire. I'm searching in this group for partnerships. I'm looking for people that want to promote. We can promote each other's resources. Another example, just went to Facebook, typed in partnerships. Patty, we're still looking for a few more speakers for the Rise Above Summit. And what a summit is I'm going to interview and take your resources and share them with everybody. Another example, Kim, we have a list of 10,000 people, parents and therapists and special educators who wants to swap. I'll share your resource, you share my resource. Actively looking for it. Here's why everybody in chat right now, put in your industry, by the way, what industry you're in or what problem do you help people solve? Areto, Harry, Tori, RT, Amanda, Anna, what industry you're in? Holistic wellness, what else? Everybody put theirs in chat here. As the creator economy has boomed, the content creation has just gone crazy. The number of email lists and podcasts and YouTube channels has gone up. What everybody that's ever run one of those, including all of you, have found out is that producing good content regularly is hard. You put out a few bangers and that's awesome, but what are you doing next Monday because you need another banger? Doing what Mr. Beast has done is absolutely insane, absolutely world class. So those people need content. They need your resource to share because otherwise they got to write that thing from scratch. They got to produce that podcast from scratch. They got to come up with that email on their own. An example of this is Cody, who's co-hosting this with us today. He has a personal newsletter. And one of the number one things he does in a newsletter is list and link to other people's stuff. Why? Why, Cody? Why do you do that? I don't know if you're here. You got your camera off, so I might be putting you on the spot here. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I may have background audio, so I apologize for that. But I share people's stuff because it's easier to share stuff that already exists. But sometimes it's hard to find the stuff. Any of you is running a newsletter as well, which many of you have posted your links. It gets tiring trying to find your own content. So if I can find partners that already have great content for me to share, then it actually saves me time.
Yeah. Key number one of doing BOPA, and understand, like they're not doing you a favor by promoting you and sharing your resource. You're doing them a favor by giving them a resource they can share and they don't have to create content from scratch that week. Key number two of BOPA is your expertise is what matters, not your audience size. So in chat, everybody put their audience size. How big's your email list in chat right now? I'm curious because I think we've got some folks with a sizable list here and some folks that are just starting out or maybe don't have a big list at all. And those of y'all that are smaller might be thinking like, man, yeah, that sounds great. If I had a list of 100,000, I could swap with people. Like, man, that does not matter at all. Your list size is irrelevant to being able to do BOPA. So Cody, 3,200, Harry, 350, Areto, 1, and it's me. Yes, Areto. Yes, that. Chelsea 280, Will 2000, and 126. Remember, I had 100 when I accidentally did my first one. RT4, perfect. So if you have a big list, awesome, use it. You can leverage it. But if you don't, doesn't matter. Example. So Oprah was the Joe Rogan of the 90s. Everybody followed her. Number one interview show, brought people on all the time. But Oprah had a problem. Her main demographic were stay-at-home moms who had kids and were married. But the problem is Oprah isn't married and doesn't have kids. So she has no idea what she's talking about on those topics. So one day she realizes this and she went out and found a local, totally unknown marriage and family therapist. His name was Phil. She brings him in. Now Phil, nobody knows the guy, doesn't have an audience, doesn't have a list, doesn't have a website, none of that stuff. This is the mid-90s. But he does have expertise in an area. He is married, he does have kids, and he has worked with thousands of people that are married and have kids and have problems and has worked through those for them. So Oprah brings him on and interviews him. Does it every Tuesday for years. And as a result, Dr. Phil now has one of the longest running TV shows in daytime TV history, some of the best-selling books that exist in the world, as a result of borrowing Oprah's audience. Robert Kiyosaki did the same thing, except he just had one guest appearance. And his book went from totally unknown to selling 5 million copies. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the only reason you know about that is Robert Kiyosaki went on Oprah once. Robert wrote a Facebook post attributing the success of the book, all of it, to one appearance on Oprah's show. One BOPA, one instance of borrowing one person's audience in Oprah. Rachel Ray, Dr. Oz, all of them got their start by going on and borrowing one audience. So your audience size doesn't matter. Like, they had no audience to bring Oprah. She didn't need list growth. Noah didn't need list growth from me. He didn't need me to promote a thing. He needed the content. He needed somebody who had just grown their email list to tell his audience how to do it. It had been years since he had done that. So key number one is understanding right now, you're not doing them a favor. They're not doing you a favor when they promote you. You're doing them a favor when you give them a good resource, because you're saving them time and you're giving them something better than what they would have had. Key number two is realizing your expertise, the transformation you've received and your ability to tell other people about it. That's what matters, not your audience size. Key number three of BOPA is that this happens every day in your industry. Yeah, Brian, I get it. I get how BOPA would work for you, and I get how I don't have to have a list, and I get how people are looking for it. But man, what are some industries y'all's mentioned? I'm in the mental wellness space. I'm in the marketing space. I'm in the self-improvement space. I do virtual networking events, or I have a marketing agency or tourism, and I've never seen this work in that industry before. I don't think it would work there. Like, I get that. That's a lie. That's not true, but I get it. Here's what's true. This is already happening in your industry, and here's why. The three fundamental things you need to generate a client, they're the same in every industry since the beginning of time. You need eyes, hearts, and then you can get wallets. So first you got to have their eyes. They got to know you exist first. Then once they know you exist, you have to build trust. And the trust you have to build is proportionate to the price point you charge. So if you charge $10,000, it takes more time. If you charge $10, it doesn't take as much time. And then you can get their wallets by putting a simple offer in front of them. Once you have their eyes and you have their hearts, conversion is pretty simple. BOPA makes it easy to do these things. That's why it's present in every industry there is. It's all over the place. It's in politics, it's in book sales, it's in coaching and marketing and everywhere. People do this all the time. Here's a couple examples from a variety of industries of people we work with. There's a lady named Amy. She's a lifestyle design coach, like whatever that is. She asked 10 people to share her resource, and she got a partnership with a lady who immediately wanted to collaborate and has 4 sales calls on her calendar for Monday. 4 calls on Monday from one person sharing one resource with their list for her. Another guy, another industry, Tom, he's a storytelling coach. Sent 10 requests, 10 pitches out for people to share his resource. 5 people said yes. Another industry, Casey, she's a career coach. She just wrapped up her second lead magnet swap, 159 new email subscribers, and 10 discovery calls booked. Who wants 10 sales calls on their calendar for tomorrow? Would you hit your super stretch goal if you had a high ticket offer and 10 sales calls? Yes. So key number 3 is realizing this happens in every industry. Will, I'm curious, you've done 13,000 sales calls for us. Have there been industries or business types where this doesn't work? What have you seen?
I would say the way that we optimize it, Brian, and the way that we're talking about it today doesn't work as well for like local services. I think there was somebody on here who talked about local services, so that could be the case. If I'm a plumber who only want to work with people within like a 20-mile radius, right? Like I don't necessarily, I think there's other ways to do BOPA in a network like in a local area, but we don't really train on that. I think that's a big one. I think it works really well with people that have like higher ticket items, like 1,000 plus, just because the return on time is crazy stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you think of anything else?
Yeah, in general, I'll talk about this at the very end, but there's kind of 2 models that we coach on and teach on that we've just discovered over time. Nothing we invented, but one is BOPA, and the second is don't do the ascension business model, do the descension model. Ascension is start cheap and work your way up. Somebody was selling $4.99 memberships. Do the math and how many units you have to sell to make your goal. It's astonishingly high. The bar you have to pass is very high. You'd be way better selling a $10,000 version of that offer and only needing 5 prospects, and you could close them like in the next month. We found that just to work really well and be hard to screw up, which is my number one optimization point. Can I have C- results and still win? So BOPA works low ticket, works local. It can be harder in those, and just low ticket businesses are just harder in general, by the way, no matter the marketing channel, because you need so much volume to make them work. So let's go to key number 4. Key number 4 is, what kind of resource is best to share? What do I need to give somebody so they share it and I get subscribers from it? And what I found is like the simple resources work best. Nobody wants the fluff in what you do. They just want the crunchy, like the real stuff. So for us, like we give away our pitch template. What do you say to somebody to get them to agree to partner with you? What's that? That's this thing on the left here. That's the pitch template. And on the right is our partner discovery guide. In fact, we're going to give both of these to you guys at the end of the training. So if you're intrigued by BOPA so far, hang tight for just a few minutes. I'll give you a link to go get both of these things. What do I say? And how do I find people that want to promote me? And then when I find them, what do I say to them? So those are here's a simple way to think about it. What are just the most effective tools you have in the thing you do, in your membership or your coaching or your course or your SaaS or whatever? Like just pull one or two super crunchy things out and have people share those because they're just intrinsically interesting. So simplest resources work best. Key number 5, and this is probably my favorite thing about BOPA, and I think outside of deep personal connection, why it works so well and it's just hard to screw up, is it works quickly, not because there's any inherent magic in it, but because there's no algorithm to rank in. Like almost every other marketing channel has some algorithm for you to figure out. For example, if you're doing ads, like you got to get the right creative with the right audience and the right buying techniques. And that just takes a while. Doing SEO, whether it's YouTube or Google or something else like Pinterest or something, like it just takes a while to master the algorithm. YouTube, master the thumbnail, title, keyword matching, content good, all that combination has to be manicured over time for it to work. BOPA doesn't. Cody reaches out to beehiiv. Hey, we'd love to do a workshop. They're like, yes. And then beehiiv sends emails and 300 people register and 50 to 100 people show up and 2 or 3 of you will buy and hire us to help you do what we're teaching you today. Like that just happens in like 6 days. There's no algorithm to figure out. As beehiiv sends emails, you see them, you click. If you're interested, you show up and we hang out. Like there's not a lot to screw up there actually. It's find the person a piece, they'll bring people to you versus come up with a perfect flyer because you've studied copywriting, you have the perfect funnel and you broadcast it everywhere. So that's just hard. Not easy to do. Lots of things to mess up. So key number 5 is it works quickly. Like it isn't a thing that takes forever. It doesn't take long to get a yes. Example, we have a client named Jennifer. She, in 3 days, got her first person to agree to promote her resource. Holy cow, I got my first yes. Now what do I do? And we helped her through that. Key number, the second person, Anjay, his first day of reaching out to other people, asking them to share his resource, he got 2 yeses, 2 people to agree to share his resource. Like, it just doesn't take long. Once they agree and send an email out, like, you get traffic. So, key number 5 of BOPA, it works quickly. Here's the big idea here. And I'll share some resources with you in a minute if you're intrigued and want to go deeper down the rabbit hole of BOPA, how to find people, what to say to them. The big idea here, though, is getting subscribers, getting clients is simple when you borrow other people's audiences. It is difficult. It is a lot of moving parts whenever you're trying to build an audience from scratch and sell to that audience. So I'm curious, at the end here, before I give resources out, which way are you leaning at the end? Are you leaning towards, all right, intentionally pick a marketing model? Are you leaning towards borrow? Are you leaning towards build? Which one is ringing the most true to you? And there's no wrong answers here, by the way, and no pressure. Either one will work, but I'm curious what you're thinking at the end of me walking you through how it's worked for us over the years.
Hey, Brian, while we're waiting for people in the chat, really loving what you're saying here. And we've actually, I guess without realizing it, we weren't familiar with your system here, but over here at beehiiv, kind of as you just mentioned that example, just one way in which we're leveraging the strategy to find new customers and reach new people. Recently, we built out our infrastructure for providing lead magnets, and we obviously have these webinars. We have a couple other ways that we're doing inbound. And one of the insights that evidently wasn't that original was that if we wanted to really build a bunch of lead magnets so we can test them in ads and see which ones perform better or worse, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of risk to basically put a lot of time and resources into building all of these things ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we're fortunate to have a pretty wide audience of great digital marketers. And so what we ended up doing was reaching out to these people who we've seen have been successful in growing audiences, growing their publications, and basically said, hey, we know that you're doing a lot of this stuff. Do you have any lead magnets that have worked well that you've worked on? We'd love to promote them. We'll put ad spend behind them. We'll host them on our landing page and our infrastructure. And when somebody signs up, we'll put a little disclaimer, of course, so we're collecting information ethically, but we'll share those leads with you. We'll pay all the payment. We'll pay for the ads. We'll host it on our site. All you have to do is either give us a link or give us a link to the asset or give us the asset ourselves so we can have them download it. And we'll do all the other work. You just get a sheet like we shared with you. that has all of the leads on it. So when somebody gets added to that Google Sheet, they can be added to their newsletter, they can be added to their marketing automation and start getting the drip from that partner. But it was a way where we've really been able to ramp up. We now have 15 different lead magnets that are ready to go. We're about to start promoting that specific strategy to just really figure out which ones work best. And it de-risks a lot of the process of spending a lot of time and effort and hiring writers and whatnot to build these resources ourselves. Plus we get resources that kind of have a track record of working. And so it's not just de-risking, it's the other way quite a bit. And then to your point here, in terms of reaching out to these different partners, we have folks who have different audiences than ours. This is just one across a giant series we're doing through the end of the year, where we're partnering with folks where we'll do a lot of the marketing. The partners show up and speak to our audience, and then we'll do the same thing with them where we were able to reach them like that. So I can't speak more highly about the strategy. I think you're spot on with kind of describing it in the context of the webinars, but also more broadly. I hope I didn't take anything jump ahead too much. But
no, that's great. Yeah, I love that you are doing it as well. Yeah, anybody that is intrigued and like you walk into the department store, you see the coat, you want to try it on. I was like, how would this work? Those of y'all that are like, I want to do both, or maybe I want to lean into BOPA. Just take a few more steps down the line and try it out for yourself. Beehiiv's doing it. It's our number one channel. Many of the people do it and sometimes don't even know they're doing it in the process of it. So be intentional about it. Here's 3 things I'll give you in order to let you try this out and make it easy for you. So 2 resources and 1 coaching item. Number 1, I would love to learn about you. Like one of us on the call, I want to learn about you, Anna and Michael and TG and Brian and Gervin and Heather and Areto. I want to learn about your business, how you generate revenue, what your product suite is, how many new subscribers a month you need. Let's learn about your funnel and what you got going on so we can start making a plan to go from where you're at to that revenue goal. Because you can do that. Like no goal that was posted here is unachievable. You can absolutely hit those, but you need to be intentional and have a real plan. So let's work on that. Let's have a one-on-one call about that. 2 tools for you. Number 1 is the Partner Discovery Guide. So this is a 3-page PDF. Something we do for all of our clients. We actually find partners and write their pitches for them, and they just send them out. So this is literally the guide that our guy who does all that uses. And it's exact search queries you can put in Google to find people to do partnerships like this with, to do BOPA with, that'll share your resource. The second thing is our 1-page pitch template. So it is just literally like the email that you can copy and paste and fill in the blanks on in order to send to those people once you find them, to get them to say yes to sharing your resource. So these 2 things together are like the first major thing you need in order to use BOPA. You need to find people and get them to say yes to sharing your stuff. So I'd love just to give those to you, just as Beehiiv customers and attendees at this workshop, so you can just try it out for yourself. These are typically tools we only give to our clients, but they're very simple and it'll let you try it on to see, do you want to make this your number 1 marketing channel? Do you want to go all in on BOPA or not? So to get that, go to lp.growthtools.com/beehiiv. Those are only available on this webinar, so go check it out, download those, they're all free. So the first thing you do when you go to that page is schedule the one-on-one strategy session. You'll get an email that has a link to the Partner Discovery Guide and the 1-page pitch template. So just so you know the order of events. And then between now and the time we get on a call to learn about your newsletter and your goals and everything, you can be playing around with the Discovery Guide, maybe find a couple partners, playing around with the pitch template and have an idea how you communicate it. And then we can talk about how we can help you do that if you're interested and help you draft a plan to hit your goal. Anyway, Cody, Bethany, anything you want to add? Any question you saw in chat you want to surface that we cover in the next 10 minutes? By the way, as y'all think about that, anybody that has a question, a doubt, a concern about BOPA in your specific context, ask away. We're here for the next 10 minutes between now and top of the hour to answer anything and help you be clear on how this could work for you.
I think the thing that I would add is just that you need eyeballs for your business. And so I think a lot of times, myself included in the past, I've gone to start a business and not given serious thought and intention to like, how am I going to get eyeballs and committed to a certain path and the timeline that takes. So our encouragement to all of you would just be like, commit to your eyeball generation method, your lead generation method, and just be very aware, like eyes wide open, going into what kind of work that does take, because it all takes work. Every single method that you choose takes work. And even if you choose to build an audience, which we've done in the past as well, go into ads knowing exactly what the cost is going to be and what the ROI is going to be, or go into SEO that way, or go into your social media or YouTube that way. And so I think a lot of times us as business owners is we leave our marketing up to random acts of marketing, as we call it, RAM. And so our encouragement to all of you would just be to really commit to what you're going to do in your marketing. That would be, if we could all walk away with that commitment from this, I think that we have done our job.
Amen. Yeah. Because if you're not focused on building or borrowing, then you're doing the RAM model, which is random acts marketing. So pick one and go all in on it. Like totally immerse yourself in it. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Areto, yeah, once you go to lp.growthtools.com/beehiiv, schedule a call, then you'll get an email with a link to him. And Cody dropped his email if you can't figure that out or you have some issue.
Hey, Brian, there's one thing that I think I would add since I haven't seen another question yet. A lot of you on the workshop are getting calls booked to sell services. Maybe that's an agency service. I actually just saw somebody come and book a call with us who runs an agency. Maybe that's an ad service. Maybe that's coaching, whatever it is. People are booking calls with you to sell something. A lot of you guys are like building newsletters for engagement to maybe sell sponsorship to a list or anything like that, right? And there is just a huge difference if, yes, to Bethany's point, get their eyeballs, but also win their hearts, win their trust, because there's a massive difference after taking 13,000 something calls selling services. I can tell you this confidently, in sources that come from cold traffic and just found us last night from a quick ad that they clicked while they were playing llama or whatever, versus people who sat on a workshop for 45 minutes or who really trust this newsletter, who promoted a lead magnet that they downloaded, or who heard someone for an hour and a half on a podcast, whatever the source may be, right? So super, super, super important to recognize and realize, dude, there is power in talking to people who already trust you, especially if you're selling something like on the other end of a call. And by the way, if you're just growing the newsletter to grow newsletters and increase clicks and increase engagement, dude, same thing on that side too. When these people know you and believe in you and trust you because you've borrowed that trust, just like you mentioned Dr. Phil and Oprah, they take action in what you tell them to take action on. So it's just a net positive overall, and I can speak on behalf of talking to cold traffic and selling to cold traffic and also selling to people like this. It's just very different. Keep that in mind too when you're working through your eyeball channel, as Bethany put it.
Yeah, that's the number one thing a content-driven businesses do fantastically well is they build trust. Like Gervin just asked, can you speak more about how to build trust with a weekly newsletter? That's what they do primarily. And there's different types of newsletters now. You have recommendation newsletters, but nothing builds trust more than somebody taking a recommendation that you gave them and them liking it. That works. So just there's two things you need for a relationship. These are just the most fundamental things as humans. You need time together, you need to talk together. You do those two things, you have a relationship. If you don't, if you're married and you stop talking to your spouse or spending time with them, you eventually will not be married. But if you hang out with your best friends and talk with them and spend time with them, you'll have a relationship. So that's what a newsletter does functionally. We're tied into this particular channel, but it is time together and talking together. And the better you get at sharing what you're learning as you're learning it, which is the approach I've taken over the years, is learning out loud. Like it works fantastically well for people trusting you. Like part of the best example I've found online is Amy Porterfield. She's an OG, been out a long time. We've coached her at times, and she probably has the strongest relationship with a list that I've ever seen. And it's because she's talked to them every week for 15 years and she's vulnerable. She shares the high, she shares the low, and her trust level is off the charts. So it's nothing magic. It's just be a human to them. Share what you're learning and experiencing as you're doing it. Now, I will say what Will said. I'll maybe reinforce what Will said. When people come on your list via an ad, that is a drastically different human than someone who comes on your list via someone recommending them. Ask anybody running a newsletter. Any human that knows what they're talking about will say someone that came via somebody sharing it, a referral, is 10 times more valuable than some rando clicking your Facebook ad down on your lead magnet. That doesn't poo-poo that strategy. That's fine. You can make that work. But that human is way harder to get ROI positive and help than a human that came in via a warm channel like this. Like it just is. Like you guys, like we've been hanging out for an hour. Your trust level in us is just way higher than if someone saw a Facebook ad and clicked and downloaded our pitch script. That person will take a year to get to the point you're at right now. Just practically, extremely practically, that's what BOPA does. It's like referral on steroids. A very intentional referral strategy is what it does practically. I feel like there was something else I was going to say. Anyway.
Brian, if I would just add to that, a lot of people that I talk to who've followed any brand or company for a long time if they heard about that brand or company or newsletter or whatever from some kind of referral, often they'll remember who referred them for years versus a Facebook ad. you forget the next day, I don't know, or I was just on the internet. I don't know. I ended up here. I couldn't tell you where it came from. And so it's just an entirely different experience of them finding you and the deep personal connection that just starts right off the bat versus any other alternative.
Let's see, James asked a question. There was another one earlier that's been asked a few times about local. So let's jump into this one. What about doing the reverse and allowing small businesses in a city to BOPA on a local newsletter? I don't totally know if I know what you're talking about. This is absolutely applicable locally, by the way. It's actually shooting fish in a barrel locally because the number of people with list and influence is just smaller and they're way easier to get to. I forget. I asked a follow-up question earlier to the lady to see what market she was in, but I don't know if you answered. It was Anna. Yeah, so I guess it depends on your particular market as to how we would workshop through that a little bit. But yes, there are local influencers, local newsletters, local papers, local TV shows, and all those people have audiences. But then the question becomes, what can you give them that they would need to share? And that could be an interview, which is content. That could be a resource, which is content. Like Will and his wife, who's on the call with us, he runs a local produce. What do you call that, Will?
It's an online farmers market that does delivery.
There you go. Online farmers market that does delivery. And it's in the Birmingham area. So any Birmingham influencer, any Birmingham newsletter, any Birmingham newspaper or TV show is perfect. All those people have giant audiences that are prime local people. So any of those people are potential partners for them.
And in-person places too. Like think about where your audience goes. Like our audience does yoga and Pilates and they work out a lot. And right, there's also local businesses that you could very easily partner with that have newsletters too.
Yeah. Anna, you said holistic health and wellness. I still don't know the product of what you're selling there. I don't know if it's personal training or personal coaching or something, maybe a local business or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, it'd be the same basic thing. We got to find people that have audiences that would want to share your stuff. And then we have to ask them to do that. The interesting thing is most people think it would be hard to get people to agree to share their stuff. It's actually not. Like I shared our numbers earlier. I'll scroll back up to that. We asked 53 people last month to share our stuff and 28 of them said yes. 50% yes rate. That's not abnormal. That might be a click above average because we've been doing it a long time. But like, it is really, Anna, the more question is first, what's your exact offer? And then let's spend an hour and let's just jump on a call and let's do this, by the way. And let's spend an hour to find 50 local businesses or influencers that would have people interested in holistic health and wellness in them. And then we just need to ask them. That's the entire game. So we had to workshop that through your offer and your industry and whatnot, but like it's the same stuff locally too. Open a local business with help finding interested clients. Yeah. Okay, so we're at time here. We're at top of the hour. We're gonna head off now. Hey, go grab the resources. They're all free. Anna, let's jump on a call and workshop through your situation. Anybody that's interested, intrigued, leaning in, let's talk. Also, grab the 2 tools we're giving you: the Partner Discovery Guide, the 1-page pitch template to try this out. Like Anna, go get the Partner Discovery Guide and spend 30 minutes with it with Google and see what comes to mind and bring that to the call. You might have a doubt. You might be like, maybe I don't get it. Let's work through it and figure out what it is for you. Go grab those, lp.growthtools.com/beehiiv. EJ, thanks for hosting us, brother.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate your time and speaking to this audience. It was such great content. I can say wholeheartedly that what you talked about today certainly works wonders. It's a core part of the strategy that we're deploying over at beehiiv that's helping us grow so effectively and quickly. Yeah, I think that this was a great outline of how folks who are not at the enterprise or SaaS doing SaaS business can implement this. So I'm excited to see what people take away from this.